Welcome to our Monday call. I know I get excited for these calls because I get to see everybody and connect. And today we get Peter D on, and Peter has a special place in my heart. He's been on my podcast. It'll be three times tomorrow. And Tracy, his wife, amazing. And when you know that um, you, you're on this, we're all on this journey, right? And there's people in our life that we've met that help us expand our knowledge and our soul. And that's what Peter has done for me. And he's going to be at our retreat January 25th and 26th in San Diego. And when that came together and you realize that when something's meant to be, it just all flowed and it was amazing and perfect. And I can't wait. So if you, it, today is December 9th. On December 15th, the price goes up $100. It's only $444. It'll go up to 555. You can make payments. I don't care what you do. Just come and we'll figure it out because it's going to be amazing. And to have 2 days with Peter in person, anything in person, I know is so much more powerful uh, than on Zoom like this. But this is going to be what we get today, and it's going to be powerful and it's amazing. So, Peter, welcome. If anyone doesn't know Peter and hasn't listened to any of the episodes, maybe give a little, 5-second intro, Peter.
Hey, thank you, Ashley, for inviting me here. And thank you, everyone, for being. It's just beautiful. I've been here since we've all logged on. I've been enjoying your fields, and it's quite nice. Uh, I'm an awakened ascension coach, so I'm awakened and I know it. Most people are awakened and don't know it. Uh, and you can be more awakened or not. And that's a whole nother game that I won't want to get into in this moment. But it basically is a way of putting a label on how much your consciousness can get into oneness with what is around you. And a lot of what I learned was at Oneness University, but I've had many other great teachers along the way. And the whole point, as I understand ascension, is in fact the oneness. When you become enlightened, I've been told that you look at another person and you see God. You look at anything and you see the divine God in it. And that then puts you in a state of oneness with that. Hence, you have the oneness with God because you are that, which was my second book, God Realization. And so I'm just excited that we have this time to go into a oneness as best of us to our abilities as we can. So I'm going to just use that as an introduction and open this up for questions on, my background or my training has been in ascension and awakening, how those two go together. And they're different things in my book. Uh, and The reason I can do what I do is I have the ability to take complex information and make it simple, explain how to do these things. So I've been blessed with that my whole life, writing curriculum and things like that. And now that I'm in this ascension area and awakening, it's just nothing else matters. It's just the most exciting thing I've ever done, and I'm happy to share it. So I'm going to just open it up for questions after that.
Who's going to ask a question? Let's go. Or I'm going to pick on you.
I guess I can ask a question.
Okay,
Um,
Shauna.
Peter, I've heard your podcast with Ashley, and then I've done some YouTube videos of yours, and I'm so happy to be here. But I just had a question, like, what would be a good daily thing to do um, to help us towards this ascension?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I appreciate connecting with you because I can't take my eyes off your beautiful smile all the time.
Oh.
I'd be like, look in the camera. No, look at her smile. No, look in the camera. Anyway,
Thank
so,
you.
so I'm going to, in fact, I just cut a video uh, that is airing currently. And it's something that I've forgotten. So it was important for me. And when I learned it, it was 10 minutes a day to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform. And that is clear, 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 clear. And when I talk about clearing, I'm talking about densities that we hold, which is an unexpressed, incomplete experience. You see, we're physical, we're human, and our experiences have to be carried out physically. You can't just mentally see what was going on, right? Because then you have a mental experience, but that is not a complete experience because you're in a body. So that means sound and movement, especially emotion, has to be part of it to make it complete. Anything you don't complete turns into a density and it gets stuck in your body. And over time, it turns into old age and disease. So that means fully feel an experience until there's nothing left to feel. You're just done with it and you go, oh, okay. And then it's okay. And it doesn't matter whether it was a good or bad experience, you're done with it. It's complete. It can be a horrible thing going on, but if you feel it fully, it's over in a few seconds. Whereas if you don't feel it fully, it turns into a dense energy and it stays with you. And that's why you have trauma and fears and phobias and stuff. And since most of us were raised thinking that's normal, you avoid this stuff and then that's how you go. And we've gotten to the point where we think it's normal, death and taxes, right? That's how it is. Okay. So as we move into ascension, we're going to start to realize that we're not here to be in a body until we burn it out and drop it from running it so hard and then move into another body and do it all again, because you're going to do the same thing again because you're holding the same dense energies because you didn't release them. Okay. So the thing is to make this your lifetime of ascension, and 10 minutes a day to clear, 20 minutes a day to transform. And I just want to brag up a little bit because I was stunned. Last week, I had a very famous athlete as a client. And I was wondering if it would be who it was because the name, I recognized the name. And of course, it was who it was. And so, I have expectations and beliefs about how things are. Anyway, this man demonstrated to me such a deep amount of compassion. He could really tap into things and express himself. And I was just touched by the gentleness and softness that he could hold. So first of all, it just changed my belief about what I think things are going on, or at least my unconscious beliefs, right? Because I got to see a person differently. But he said something very interesting when I talked to him. I said, you got to clear this stuff. He goes, oh, I'm just doing so much clearing work. That's all I do. And I go, yeah, but there's something that's missing out there. And a lot of people in the New Age movement, a lot of people doing the clearing work don't understand it. Never take anything out without putting something better back in. So you can just clear, 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 and never make any progress because your unconscious is going to backfill it for you. All right. So you have to change what's in your unconscious. You do that, you access it first by moving the emotions fully, which then opens you up into a field. But then your consciousness has to step in to make something different. Now, when I was taught this, we would just turn it over to the divine. We'd say, okay, divine, fill me up with auspicious qualities. Look, you know more than I do what I need. So just give it to me. And you just be open and it would see it happen. If you're not that open, sit there, and I just usually go the opposite. Okay, so before I was believing I was, had no worth, I didn't deserve to be loved, all that stuff. Now you backfill it with I am lovable, I am worthy, all that other stuff. That's why affirmations are important, but they're not sufficient because you didn't do the clearing work before. Okay. So the most important thing you can do is 10 minutes a day to clear, to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform. On my website, becomingawesome.one, you can sign up and there's a whole bunch of free tools, including a 16.5-minute video that guides you through the clearing process. I recommend people spend 20 minutes so that they spend a few moments looking at their unconscious, contemplating. And it always goes down to pretty much 4 things. 90% of the people I work with, it comes back to I'm not loved, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve. Now, there's variations on those themes, and there's some other stuff that comes up, but it's very rare that I don't run into somebody that doesn't have one of the 4 or all of the 4 in some combination. All right, so you just spend a moment or two, a few minutes contemplating, seeing what's the unconscious programming. That's what this whole thing is. You're getting in touch with your unconscious. It stunned me to learn that we are all just unconscious programs expressing. We're just unconscious. We think we're making choices and live. No, we're just unconscious programs that are expressing until you consciously go in and rewrite the programming. Now, I know this sounds boggling, but I'll bet everybody has had the experience of driving home after a busy day at work or something, and you get in your driveway and you don't remember driving home. And you're like, how did I get here? That's how powerful your unconscious is. It moves you through traffic at speed against obstacles and all kinds of stuff. And boom. Now, that's what your unconscious can do in that situation. What do you think it's doing in every other situation? Now, we step in and we say, oh, it's my personality. Oh, it's how I am. It's my habit. No, it's just simply unconscious programming that's running, and it's been running for so long, you've owned it and decided to define yourself as that. So if you start doing this clearing work, then everything breaks away. Who you were is no longer who you're going to be tomorrow because that whole history is wiped away. So there's my recommendation, something you can do every day, 10 minutes a day to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform, clear, and then replace it with something auspicious.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Sounds good.
When I did, when I was going down Peter's rabbit hole when I first met him for the interview, and I was doing the clearing, and that was that was magic moment. That was when I really understood what it meant. For the first time, I started to connect, and it was, I can still be at, because I walk on the golf course with the dogs in the morning, and I know exactly where I was when I was like, okay, I got it. I can still be there because I was like, those moments in your life where you're like, oh, that's where I was when that happened. It was one of those impactful moments that I go, okay, I get it. That's it.
That's
Anyway.
beautiful, Ashley. And again, I just need to compliment you because you're one of the few people who did your homework before they interviewed me. And not only did your homework, but did a process. So you kind of knew what it was. And then, sure enough, it works. I mean, it's not just, oh, do this thing. And, it's like when I flip through YouTube, 20 seconds of this will change your life and all that stuff. But this stuff, wow. So thank you
Yeah.
for carrying it forward. And I'm honored to be a messenger that just sit there and pass these teachings along.
Yeah. Amazing. Powerful. Wendy, what do you want to ask? You're going to ask something.
Yes. Two questions now. Just when you were talking, I wanted to ask, like, what is your take then on maybe breaking a bad habit? Because you said, we're just our unconscious mind is just going through motions in the habits, but like, what is your take on how we can easily, well, I shouldn't say easily, but how to break a habit?
So it is actually kind of easy. And
Mhm.
habits are a little bit different than programming. All right. In that they're not as deeply rooted. A habit is usually just one thing. And the programming is usually a combination of those things in a habit that then gives a certain predictable outcome. So and so does this, I go irate and explode. Okay. So it's more than just a habit, but it's the same thing. And the answer is beautiful. Awareness is the first step. Awareness is the last step. And I'm like, that's one of those stupid Zen koans. What are you talking about? And it took me a long time to understand that's really all it is. So, for example, let's say you have the habit of saying the word awesome. So you can't get through two sentences without saying the word awesome. You know how some people, they get stuck on a word, and then you know how some people, use a certain language and they think, well, that's how I am. That's how I talk, right? Stuff like that. If they take the effort to be aware, oh, I said it again. 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 And if you just keep doing that over time, the awareness itself will change you because you'll just simply get sick and tired of it because you've brought awareness to it and it's no longer unconscious. Now, something bigger is going on, and this is your relationship to mind. And so this is bigger than habit, which I was telling you about. That's the important starting point. Awareness is the first step. Awareness is the last step. Mind is not mine. Contemplate that for a second. Think about your mind and then think whether or not it's yours. Okay? Imagine for a second there is thinking, but no thinker. And you're like, what? I'm the one thinking that. How can that be? Right? There's listening, but no listener. There's seeing, but no seer. There's, even in this case, me, there is speaking, but no speaker. How can any of this be? At a certain point, your unconscious has been running the program for so long. And so it just has predictable responses and you do predictable things. At a certain point, you start to realize, I am not that. So what are you? You are consciousness, existence, bliss. And when you get to the point where you can own and accept that you are consciousness, and you as consciousness can then interact with mind, as opposed to thinking that you are in mind. In our society, isn't it like praise? Isn't it, I think, therefore I am? Which is kind of stupid, because you could be like, I cook, therefore I am, right? But mind wants to think it's really special, right? So now, a couple things about mind. One is there's higher and lower vibrations to mind, just like there's higher and lower vibrations to you. Higher self, physical dense self. Okay. Now, the attributes of higher mind: creative, constructive, connective. The attributes of lower mind: destructive, repetitive, negative. All right. Now, we've been with lower mind for a long time, so we think it comes up. And you all know, I'm still waiting for a person on the planet to tell me this is not true for them. So if you're one of them, let me know, because I want to meet you. Okay. You all know that you've done something one time in your life, and then for hours or days or weeks, your mind beats the shit out of you and tells you fucked up, you should have done something else. Oh my God. And it'll make all the scenarios of what you could have said and done, and it just does it, just beat you. Lower mind, no better example. That's how lower mind works. Okay. So if you start to understand that you are not mind, okay, and you are this consciousness, then you get to choose what it is you do. Okay. Now I'm going to give you an example, then I'm going to give you a practical application. So the person who taught me this was also the person who gave me awakening, and also the person who said 10 minutes a day to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform, and who said awareness is the first step, awareness is the last step. That's this dude here, Bhagavan, over my shoulder. And we're talking about a great being in a human body who has Jesus-like skills. And there's several others on the planet with that level of skill. Unfortunately, they're all doing beautiful teaching, and I got to learn from them, so I'm doing my best to share. Okay, so he's telling the story of one day a saint, we're talking a saint level person, is coming to visit him. And the saint arrives late in the afternoon, and Bhagavan says to the saint, how was your trip? Now, this is India, and he was walking in rural India. And the saint says, oh, Bhagavan, I'm so just distraught. I've had murderous thoughts all afternoon. I just want to kill somebody. I just can't help thinking about how I want to kill somebody. It's really bothering me. And so Bhagavan says to him, where did you eat lunch? And the saint goes, well, on this crossroad, a few kilometers out there with this big tree. And Bhagavan goes, oh, yeah, I know the place. A teenage boy killed his girlfriend there a few years back. And you just walked through the energy field of what was held in the thought sphere there. And you thought it was yours this whole time. This is a saint who walked through a field of thought and then thought it was him doing the thinking. And then would blame himself and go into guilt and all these other kinds of things. So now, the practical application of all this, if you understand you're not your thoughts, and you understand that lower mind is going to be negative and repetitive, you got to have a relationship with it. First of all, at some point, you're going to have to declare your sovereignty. I am my consciousness. I've got a process for that. It's called a japa. I'm not sure where it is on my website, but it's described in my first book on how to get yourself into that transformation of knowing you are your consciousness and nothing more. Okay. But you have to then have a relationship with mind as a being of consciousness. So I use the example of grandma who has Alzheimer's. All right. You love her. She raised you. But she's got Alzheimer's now. So she's out there. So you walk in the living room. She's doing whatever she does, watch TV, some horrible show, because that's where her consciousness is. You walk in, she goes, Peter, will you look at your hair? You're honestly going to go on that video with Ashley and all her friends with your hair looking like that? And she says, are you really wearing that? Can't you put on a better shirt? Right? Are you still with that Tracy girl? You can do better, right? So she starts saying all these things. Now, I love her because she raised me, but I know she's crazy. What is the one and only thing I can do in that moment? And that's simply to say, Grams, I love you, gotta go. And that's it. You cannot keep attending to mind. You can't use mind to solve the problem of mind. It's just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. Okay. So at a certain point, you declare you're awakened in your consciousness. And then you start to treat your mind like that. Now, what'll happen is it'll still beat you up. Just beat on you, beat on you, beat on you. Okay. And you keep treating it like Graham with Alzheimer's. Wow, 15 times in the last 5 minutes, you told me I'm full of crap. Oh, thank you, mind. I'm moving to a higher place. Got to go now. All right. And you do that with, again, awareness, the first step, awareness, the last step. You do that till you get to the point where, oh, it starts to quiet your mind. And then lower mind realizes you're ascending, and if it doesn't help you, it's going to be left behind. So it starts helping you. But you got to take those steps. Now, the good news is this all happens naturally as you move higher levels of consciousness into awakening. And I've been given the gift of awakening, and I've been doing my work enough so I'm getting up there. It's kind of freaking me out that, I'm doing the things I used to watch the monks do. And I'm like, whoa, okay. But now this is how it is. Everybody's going to have these skills and abilities. I'm only special because I'm bragging about it. That's the only special thing I've got going is braggery. All right. But you're going to have this too. And the good news is I was given awakening, and I've also been given, through my higher self's auspices, the ability to transfer it. And that's what we're going to do at the end of this. We're going to do an awakening transmission. So you're going to get a little piece of it. So just keep letting that come in and watch your mind go higher every time you try to get quiet with it. But then it's important you do the second step is not just receive the awakening. You have to use it. It does you no good if you're not using it, which is holding in your awareness. Awareness is the first step. What's going on? And then choosing who you are by asserting that you are consciousness, regardless of what mind is telling you. Now, for many of you, this is going to cause emotional distress because it's like you're doing something different and it's going to feel weird, which is why 10 minutes a day to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform. So I'm sorry to be so long, not really, Wendy, but hopefully that answered your question some.
Oh yeah, it was really good. And then my first question that I had was, I don't know, just kind of a different question, but can you just like people that you have in your life, like help them awaken without actually talking to them about awakening? Is there something like we can do consciously to like bring more awareness without actually like saying it to them? Just curious.
Yeah. So the deal is, if you get to full awakening, you're going to take 70,000 people along with you. Okay, because you generate a field, a bubble of heaven. This is why I'm able to see clients and help them. Some of you on this call I've been with, and it's been quite beautiful. And some of you say, yeah, something happened. I got something there. The reason I'm able to do that was because I generate a field. So it's not me generating it. I get out of the way. Spirit generates it, but it's really the matter of being awakening. I'm no longer personality, unconscious mind running its programs. I'm no longer personality. So therefore, I'm just this divine flow. As such, when people enter my field, they feel it if they're the slightest bit aware. If they're not, they'll just notice, you're nice to hang around. You're calm. All right. And unless they're super into their own mind, I got this belief system and everything, and I must oppose you, they're going to be naturally affected. So you don't have to do anything other than your own work. Once you get to higher levels of it, if you care to, you can start to do familial healing. You can start to do all kinds of things. Tracy and I, when we first discovered it, we do processes for siblings. She would do it for her daughter because her daughter thought this was all crap, right? And now her daughter's like, Mom, I'm having these spiritual experiences. And I'm like, yeah, true. Okay. So you actually get into a oneness field with them and then process as if you're them. But that's a lot of work to do. And I don't do that for other people because I just tell everybody, I tell them in my sessions, look, if you want me to clear you, I could, but then you'd get it all back in 10 minutes because your unconscious would backfill it. You got to have some skin in the game if you want this. So you don't need to talk about it. They're going to start asking you about Oh, did you change your hair? You know, oh, your skin is glowing. Oh, you look younger. Then they may not want to hear it. I was up at Thanksgiving. My sister says, Peter, I'm only 3 years younger than you. How come I look so much older? And how come you look younger every time I see you? Then I start telling her and she doesn't want to hear none of it. Okay, but they will notice it. And that will open up the conversation if you do want to go the conversation route.
Thank you. Yeah.
I saw a comment from Sonia. This is deep. I used to, before I knew it, this was going to be my path right now. I used to teach college classes on military bases years and years ago, and I would go into these tangents because that was my nature. That was me. And all these, 18-year-old military people would be in the back room, and they'd sit in the back room and go deep. So thank you, Sonia, for your comment, for bringing back that beautiful memory.
Sonia, what made you want to go to his retreat? Like what attracted you to Peter? What drew you to him and Tracy?
Being in that flow that he was talking about, just not paying attention to the mind and just thriving from that inner soul, that higher self. And I feel like it's a practice, right? And I had a lot of curiosity as well.
Great, love it.
Beautiful. I just need to add that, look, I don't know hardly any of you. There's 2 or 3 of you I've met and done sessions with, which thank you just for letting me in your energy field. But we have a joke in the circles I run in. When things are happening, we call it brain surgery. And the brain surgery is really strong right now, right in the back here. I'm getting like on the inside about 3 inches deep. And so I'm feeling it. And I've been at this game long enough to know, oh, cool. I'm in the middle of a field where energy is upgrading me. So this means we're in the middle of a field where energy is upgrading us. In fact, this is partially due to the fact that we are together, and our togetherness is creating an energetic synergy that is allowing this in. As you go into your journey and make your steps up the ladder of consciousness, you're going to start to be aware of these things. It's very subtle. It's mining and dealing and talking with your unconscious and your body because they're conscious. All right. But I just need to tell you that as soon as we started this deep thing, it's like, oh, brain surgery started. Lucky us.
Cool.
I love it. Anybody? Who's next? Or I'll call on you.
I love you, Ashley. What a teacher. Don't make me call on you.
I'm going to call on Tammy.
Okay, let me think of a question. I really loved the Christ energy video that you did, and that feeling, I'm feeling a lot of energy like in my head lately, and I've done a
Brain
lot of
surgery. Thank
yeah,
you. More, please.
I am an energy healer, so I do that for people, and I notice I have to clear after that too. But it feels like there's I live in Georgia. There's been hurricanes, storms, a lot of dense energy. So it's been kind of heavy here, but it's lightening up now. So I just, I appreciate the video, just allowing that energy to flow in. I'm not a negative person, but I've kind of been feeling negative. So that is, I have a lot of practices that I do, but I may look at your tools too. And I was drawn to your wife. I liked her videos too, the appreciation. But I really resonated with that video.
Thank
So
you.
just so
Thank
you
you.
know,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
different
great.
because that was the first time I went public with
Oh,
Christ. Yeah, and it's a gift to be in contact. I mean, Christ came to me at different times in my life, including one time after a super big process at Oneness University where my heart exploded and I just felt it. And I'm like, oh yeah, Thank you. So I appreciate
Well, I guess my question really is this. I've been getting a lot of templates, and I will say they're like visions of maybe Christ and an angel Michael, a rose, and they look like crystalline temp templates. They almost look like a TV screen. And I don't completely understand what that is. So I don't know if you've experienced that or how
yeah. So
how you perceive it.
there's two things I want to tell you. One of them is one of my friends, and I meditate with him every week, and he's out there. He makes me look like a piker when he starts talking about stuff. I'm like, huh? I mean, I don't understand half the words that come out of his mouth, literally. And but I like the energy, so I hang with him. And people in our meditation group will say, oh, this happened or that happened. And he will always say, you've been given a talisman, take it. Okay. You've been given a talisman. Now, whatever that means is like I played Dungeons and Dragons as a kid. So that means I've got my bag of holding and I've got my magic talisman and I throw it in and I walk around with it. And now I have this magic tool. And that's as far as I go with meaning. Okay.
Okay.
You take it with you because I've had enough things unfold in my life. Energy comes to me and I'm not fully able to understand it. I'm learning now that a lot of this process is moving our consciousness up into 5D as opposed to pulling 5D gifts down into 3D. Okay.
Okay.
So that's a whole different language. So if you ask stuff like, what does it mean? Well, then you've lost what it means because it doesn't have the words for it in 3D. It's no longer in the experience. So you take it and you hold it and you have it.
Yeah, it's symbols or templates. It's not anything I've ever seen before.
It's affecting you. You probably have seen it before, but not in this physical
Not in
lifetime.
this physical
Okay.
life.
And you're
Yeah.
starting to bring it in. So this is your bridge. Ooh, I've got it something here. And you called it template. So you even know it's going to get filled in. Okay.
Mm,
So you just say,
mm,
okay, I got a new template. Can't wait to see it unfold.
okay.
Yeah. The other thing I want
Yeah.
to tell you is that, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but I suspect you might be. And a lot of people have judgments about certain things. When you say, I've been feeling negative, and a lot of people express, I've been feeling depressed. So that just simply means you're not clearing something. Something is there to be cleared. And so a lot of what's been taught in the New Age movements is how you then you do this for calming or to down regulate or to do whatever they call the fancy words to make it okay. And my school of thought is you don't. You jump into the tiger's mouth and you let it devour you. So in that 10 minutes a day to thrive, you would say, all right, top of my list, I feel negative. You're welcome here, negativity. Anybody who's with me knows I do that. You're welcome here. And then you express it in a safe environment for 10 minutes, and then the pressure's off and you can backfill the consciousness later. But you got to take that pressure off. So I don't know if you're doing that or not, but I just want to put that
Okay.
out there. This is going to be a whole new thing. Is we're not trying to avoid any of this stuff because it's part of the oneness field.
Right.
We're trying to embrace it because obviously it's in us, or we would not be resonating or aware of it.
Yeah. Well, my practice is to allow it, but I am resistant to some negative energy. I mean,
Ooh,
I
I don't
just,
want to feel that stuff. No way. That's why.
but I mean, I do allow it, and it does pass through much more quickly. But also, I do breath work and clearing and
Yeah.
a few
So
other things.
when I say allow, I mean allow, of course, but
Yeah.
I also mean on its own terms. So I treat emotions and energy like they're people. Okay. So if there is negativity and it's a person, how would it want to express that it feels loved and received? So anger would be loud and angry, fear would be trembling and shaking, maybe some puking and stuff, right? And so all these things, sadness, of course, is crying and all that stuff. Many people can access sadness, but that's as far as they'll go, right? So yeah, so it's we might be saying the same things, but I don't know your background enough, but when it's allowing, yes, allow is super important. And can you allow it on its own terms? on the terms of the negativity so it feels fully expressed so it can release. And then when it's released, anything fully expressed turns to bliss. So you get to the bliss place, but you get to it by being that negative person. And sometimes you be the negative person to another person. I did that over Thanksgiving. I watched myself do ugly things and I watched myself say them and do them. I'm like, wow. And then of course my wife was giving me a hard time driving home to where we were staying. Do you realize you didn't? Yes, of course I did. Well, what do you think? And I go, sweet, I'm in the middle of processing it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And she understands me enough to know that when I say that, I'm not just trying to end the conversation. And so then I did. And then I could see all the little things in my childhood that would lead up to this kind of patterning. Then I could go sit there and clear them that point. Then I could relieve what was going on with the people I was there. So then I could call them up and apologize. And all that came into place. All right. But it had to be me being the asshole first, because that was the energy that was in the moment. And that was the truth of the moment.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yana, you want to ask a question?
No, I just spoke to Peter. I kind of want to let everybody else ask a question.
Go ahead,
Okay.
Sonia. Sonia asked one.
Yeah, just wondering if there are different modalities or ways of doing the clearing or practices.
Yeah, so I'm finding that there's a ton of different ways. Okay. And the commonality is full expression. And I believe it should be on the terms of the emotion. All right. Now, some people do a lot of energy work and they'll just do energy transfer and stuff. And I love that. I love receiving it. But I found to me, it just wouldn't stick. So I found to me, and this is only to me, it was slower because there was no skin in the game. And therefore, I was not conscious of it. And so, whatever gains I made, my unconscious would come bring it back. So, full expression with awareness is going to be the key. Now, sometimes it could look like sitting there, and I've seen it happen, and I've experienced it a few times. At first, I thought it was really crazy. Okay, you just sit there and you be totally aware of it, and then it's done. I'm like, what? Sometimes, though, it's entrapped in the body, and it needs expression on body levels. So I've seen that as well. I've seen combinations of this. I've seen guided imageries that have worked. I've seen all kinds of things. You could do it in a gym because you're making physical movements, and if you're holding the right awareness, and yeah, and that's just you get to, it's okay to be grunt out loud in the gym, right? So you can do all that stuff. So yes, there's different modalities. The key is full release on all levels that are related to what is being released, and then the second key is bringing something back in. All right. And then for me, the third one is never do it alone. That's the big thing. We think we can all do it alone. This is all divine because we're divine. Bring your divine in. Have your divine hold your hand like you're 3 years old when you do any clearing work. Okay. Super, super important. So,
Wow, beautiful. Thank you.
yeah.
And you can go on his website. Sonia, have you gone on his website and done the clearings? Yeah, go. He has all the, yeah, you can go on becomingawesome.one. That's where I started, and that was a life changer. So many different things you can do on there.
Yeah.
Ashley asked, as you mentioned that as we ascend, we bring others along, our family, without outward action discussion. Does the same apply to clearing? Or any insight on introducing simple clearing techniques to kids or partners that are not on the same point of ascension as we?
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. Your kids and your partners are with you because there are agreements on the soul level to be with you. And almost always it's to trigger you. So you have your clearing, and they have their clearing, right? Almost always that's the agreement. Now, I told you anything fully experienced turns to bliss. I did not know that this applied to forgiveness. And this was just a major awakening and understanding for me for a long time. You know, we're always told you got to be kind, you got to forgive, you got to be loving. And I never would because I'd feel, oh, I want to kill a person, right? So if something is fully expressed, there's no longer any energy holding it in place. So when I do clearings, and we're going to do this at the retreat, we're going to do clear the relationships with your parents because it's your primary relationship. All other ones follow from it, from that same patterning. So we're going to do that. We're doing it in a group. It's going to make it super strong. Okay. If you do it fully, there's nothing there. Now, the key is to do it from both points of view. All the pain my parents caused me, and all the pain I caused my parents. Now, once you do that, there's nothing left to forgive because there's no energy there. Literally, you're in a new timeline where that didn't happen because there's no energy holding it in place anymore. And as a result, it's easy to pick up the phone and just talk to them. Or you see miracles. So I first started teaching this when I was teaching the Oneness Awakening class, and it would be a 2-day class. And we would do the parenting process on the first day. And on the second day, we'd do a check-in. How you doing? And every single class, every single one, at least one person, usually multiple people, would say something along the lines of, I hadn't talked to my parents in 5 years and they called me up last night. Or, I just decided there was no more energy and I did call my mom up and we had the longest talk and it was so beautiful. Right? I did this one as a follow-up, which is the child process, all the pain you've caused your children and all the pain they've caused you. And we were doing that. And I was doing that in this class, and this lady sits there at the end of the process and says, look, and she shows everybody her cell phone. This is my daughter. I haven't spoken with her in this many years, and she texted me in the middle of the process. So in answer to your question, Ashley, you clear your stuff, it automatically changes their field. And then you start to have the ability, maybe not always, but the ability to do discussions. Now, at the retreat in France that we did, this one beautiful lady came out and she had super big clearings, super big, right? She was really letting it rip. You're going to see that at the retreat. I'm going to encourage you to really get loud in front of everybody. Let it go. No shame, none of that anymore. No hiding this stuff. Don't bury it. You buried it for so long. Let it rip. And you're in the field of other people letting it rip. It was always fun when I was at this university in Europe. There would be a bunch of Koreans in the class because we're talking classes of 500 or 600 people, and there'd be dozens and dozens of Koreans and hundreds of Chinese, and they would be in a war on who could express most along their cultural lines. It was so much fun to watch. Anyway, so in this in this retreat we did in France, we would we got really deep. This lady went really deep, and when I was done, I was talking to her, and she said, Peter, I had this lifelong pain in my neck. It's been really hard, stiff, and hurt and stuff. I feel it cleared at the retreat, and I feel it's a familial clearing. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So then I talked to her a week or two later, and she goes, I got home and I called my sister up because she has the same neck thing. And it was worse than her. She was scheduled for surgery that week to deaden the nerves to stop the pain. And her sister said, wow, about 3 days ago, the pain went away. And so I canceled the surgery. So her healing was familial. Then she's been telling me, I can't thank you enough, Peter. I was at the point in my life where I was suicidal, I was depressed, I was on drugs, and now none of that. Now I'm having all these great experiences, right? And my family used to give me such shit about it. And now they're coming up to me and saying, can you heal me? And so she's starting to practice it. See, Tracy and I offer a mentorship program, so we're trying to coach her along, but we don't really need to. We're just permissioning and directing her own abilities and skills. Okay. So she's been doing these things on her family, and she sends me emails every now and again. Yeah, I just did this with my husband, just did this with my kids. I cannot tell you how my whole family relationship changed. And this was without her doing anything other than her clearing work. She did do one thing. Once she got enough confidence in her clearing work, she would then call them out when they were treating her a certain way. Look, you're saying this to me now, and I feel this way when you say this to me, and you've done this to me for a long time, and I don't like it. Stop it. And that was all it took. Because her level of awakening transferred to their level of awakening, that they could hear her when she said that. She was no longer hiding that. So she's experiencing beautiful relations. So Ashley, yeah, it's all in front of you. It may not seem possible, but you do your own work and then it'll naturally unfold into your family.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
It's funny how, even Wendy asked, can I do some, help my family without, them wanting to or whatever. That's interesting.
So yeah, and this is not to blame anybody, but this is just to be a teaching point here. If you're in a situation where you're saying, how do I help my family with this stuff? What I hear as an ascension coach is, okay, my insides always match my outsides. I'm always in 100% reflection. If I'm not being received by family members, then there are places inside of me that I don't accept and receive, which is why you do the inner clearing work to accept and receive them. And once that changes, the energy on the outside changes and it has to reflect back to you that they accept you. So we all sit there and start with, oh, how do I help my family? Yeah, true. It's a beautiful thing. And that's an indicator that you've got some pain on the inside.
Oh, Wendy, there's a light bulb above your head. I saw it go off. I love it.
Which goes back to the beautiful first question, 10 minutes a day to thrive, 20 minutes a day to transform.
Yeah.
And I used to think, oh, I did all my work. I'm done with it. And, no, it just keeps coming back because there's so many layers. Now, I used to love it because I'd go to this university in India, and it was spiritual boot camp. They'd wake you up at 6 in the morning and they'd keep you in class till 10 or 11 at night. And you were just doing processes all day. So you're just so exhausted all the time, which got rid of your resistances. They said to you, they would joke, we make you do all this stuff, most of it so you can get out of the way so we can come in and do our work. All right. but we would do this and I would joke with my friends during our breaks at lunch and go, yeah, you could just come here and do a year's worth of work in a month. All right. And so I had the benefit of doing that 5 times. Okay. So it was just beautiful. We're now at the point where we all have to take it on ourselves. And it doesn't have to be super hard. It's going to be scary and hard at first in equal measure to how resistant you are. After that, he'll be sitting there going, ooh, another tiger. Let me jump in its mouth.
Love it. Carol, do you have anything?
Yeah. So, how is it that it usually takes trauma for your awareness to happen, to become awake? And how is it that in a family unit that not everyone can awake? Just 1 or 2, or just
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah. So the trauma part, you got to look at it from a point of view of your soul, not just the point of view of here in my life having trauma. See, this is a time of ascension on planet Earth. It's a very powerful time for transformation. And we're doing something that's unique in the universe. We're doing it all at once as a planet. Other planets have ascended, but they didn't do it in the compressed time frame. Now, when I say all at once, I mean like within 400 years. But that's still from the soul point of view, which is millions and billions of years old. That's nothing. That's instantaneous. Okay. So from the point of view of your soul, this is the time of ascension. So pretty much everybody on the planet, Spirit's telling me now, because I'm 24/7 in contact with them, Spirit telling me now about 98, high 98, not quite 99% of the people came to the planet, came to planet Earth because they knew that this was the time. And the way the universe works, there's, physicality, there's only so much room for so many souls. So the souls that were serious about doing ascension were the ones who punched their ticket and got here. So what does punching your ticket mean? It means I've had this many experiences in all my existences that my soul is now carrying these dense energies, and I'm tired of carrying it. Now, we call it karma, learn your lesson, soul contract, and those touch the truth, but they are not the truth because they imply more than is there. It's a simple matter of, I'm tired of carrying this energy. This is the opportunity. So I'm going to come here. So when you came here with the intent to create situations that were going to clear lifetimes. Now, I could go through each of you individually and say, okay, this is how many long you've been around, but I can tell you that there are no lightweights on this call right now. There's no brand new souls on this call right now. And most of you have had thousands of lifetimes. Thousands. All right. So just think of what you're carrying as far as unexpressed dense energy, because you didn't know no better and you tried it in all those permutations. So you came in saying, yeah, I'm going to do some trauma because that's going to give me the best opportunity. So if you crap, I'm going to do what's necessary. This is the lifetime of ascension. I'm no longer going to have to play this game that we call incarnation. I can do it all now. I'm going to do it. So, of course, you set up the big game. And of course, it's hard. All right. Now, how does family play into this? You didn't make your decisions alone. No, you were with your spouse, you were with your kids, and they said, okay, look, you're going to be born into this situation. We're going to put it all together. And they all added their little spicy pieces to it. And then some of them said, look, I'm going to play the asshole so that you can have a greater opportunity. I will take on the karma of being harmful to you. So you'll have a greater opportunity because I know that's going to help me in the end because you're going to turn around and help me because when you clear, you're going to have that consciousness, right? So, of course, your family members aren't going to get it. And they're going to show you their deepest things. I just spent a Thanksgiving with some serious Christians. Oh my God, they were serious. I remember one night we were praying, and my nephew leading the prayer said, and I quote, he said, "Thank you, God, for giving us the punishment we deserve." And that was part of his prayer. Okay, so of course you have family members that are going to show to you what's going on very, very deep levels. Now, this is not to criticize any religion. It works for them. God bless them. Beautiful. But why is that presented in my consciousness and why does that trigger me? Well, again, my insides always match my outside. So I still have lots that I'm holding about being punished, about not deserving, about not feeling worthy, about feeling less than God and therefore groveling so that I can get what my salvation will be. That's all he was beautifully showing to me. Okay. So when you look at it from those kinds of things, it's way different than, oh, we're constantly fighting all the time and it sucks. When you start to have your awakenings, things are going to be so different. I told you about one family. Now, fortunately, Tracy and I were both attending Oneness University at the same times because we go to India, so we'd go together, right? And we wouldn't interact much because male dorm, female dorm, so we'd eat dinner every night. That was pretty much it. But when we got home, when we were first awakened, things were different. And this was so unusual for me. We would still have our arguments. We would still be, but they would, within a minute or two of starting, one of us would say to the other, wow, I'm feeling this way because you're doing this, that, and the other thing. And the other one would say, wow, I don't really feel like this is my stuff. I feel like it's your stuff. Or they would say, you're right. I'm doing some crappy things here. And then the argument would be over because we would get to what was really causing it and identify it and own it because neither of us had a stake anymore in holding the unconscious pattern of what we thought we were supposed to be and why our pride was wounded and why it was hurt. And then we would just retreat to our own separate places and move our charges. But our arguments were over in minutes. And that happened because we were both there. Now, this is going to happen to everybody. We had the blessing of us doing it together. But when you get there, you're going to see, what I've been taught is you no longer react, you respond. You're not triggered to the unconscious programming that's held because of the trapped energy that you haven't moved. So you can respond. And the responses are going to not be what you thought because they're no longer in the pattern of what you learned. So in one time you can be really loving, another time you can say horrible things. Tracy and I have a joke because we know how the game is played and we know when we're at it with each other. So this is our way of communicating that we need some space and back off. And we'll do this. I love you so much right now. And then we'll just both bust up and go, take care of what needs to be done, because it's honest that I really feel like I want to punch you in the face now and you're triggering me. And it's very rare. It still happens. Sometimes we're so caught in to our unconscious pattern that we just keep holding it and pressing it, holding it and pressing it. And, but eventually the other person will say, okay, they're stuck. I need to let them burn out, even though I am really feeling hurt by this. Okay. So the whole dynamic is going to change. So I can tell you is, bless you, Carol, you're at the point where it's just starting and it's going to hurt. It's going to be that old game of sitting in a circle and touching each other and go, does that hurt? Oh, does this hurt? Oh, does that hurt? Because that's your unconscious programming. And you signed up for that with loved ones who said, and I'll play these roles to trigger you from a soul point of view. It doesn't change the fact that it really sucks from an earth point of view. Okay. But that's the bigger picture.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just heaping you're in a pain place by asking that question. I can feel it in your
You answered
feel.
it very well. Yeah.
Well, thank you. But yeah, it's I'm not known for being Mr. Compassionate. So I'm just apologizing for that in the moment.
Christine, do you have one of your magical questions? Your deep, beautiful questions? No? Anybody? Anybody that's not on camera that just wants to talk? Aaron or Katie?
Yeah, let's do one more if there is one more, Ashley, and then let's move to this transmission because that's going to
Perfect.
take about 15 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Anybody? Going once, going twice? And I'm going to make you host, Peter.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Actually, I'm sending you a request.
Oh, there we go. Oh, it works. See?
There you go.
I didn't need to learn anything.
Okay. And I'm just going to share sound. Okay. Now this is the oneness blessing, and it's designed for awakening. So it's designed to quiet your mind and allow more source to come in and uplift you. And I'm going to send it through my eyes. So if you're not already seeing me in full screen, change your view to speaker view or whatever, Ashley, make me the single view that everybody sees.
Yeah, we just go to the view and then go to speaker. I'm sure everyone knows how to do that.
Yeah. Good. Good. So I want everybody to see me there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my glasses off and you're going to look into my eyes. It's like that old Dracula movie, look into my eye. Okay. You're going to do that. Anyway, I'm going to get out of the way. And that's a skill, getting out of the way. And once I get out of the way, source is going to come through. And that's going to look and be like whatever it is for you. So don't be surprised by what I start doing. I could start cackling. I could start crying. I could start panting. I mean, who knows what's going to come through because I get out of the way and source does its thing. All you're going to do is look into my eyes and receive it. That's it. It's the whole game. Now I'm going to play 2 songs, and these are both performed by the monks in India that they gave me this technique. They did not initiate me to give it. They initiated me to give me other stuff. But they used this technique on me a lot. And then recently my higher self said, start doing this. And I'm like, I haven't been initiated. And they're like, higher self's like, shut up, start doing it. All right. So you're going to get whatever you get from it and you'll just feel it. So I'm going to play 2 songs by the Monks. One, you're just going to look in my eyes. The second one, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and then I'm going to go relax. The transmission will continue in the second song because you've already made the connection. Okay. So that's it. Song 1, look in my eyes. Just let the flow come to you. And song 2, close your eyes. Stay connected with your source and let whatever happens, happens. Let's just do an intent here. Okay. Thank you, sweet divine, for the high levels of awakening that everybody receiving this, including those of you watching the tape, thank you for the high levels of awakening that you are all receiving. So if you can, just make a moment of gratitude. And, I would say connect to your divine, but I don't want to spoil it for you. Sometimes your divine will show up in ways you don't expect. Those of you who use Jesus as your go-to might freak out when Shiva shows up or something like that. So I'm not going to even tell you to connect. Just look and allow. So I'm going to start the music in 1 second. When I do, I will close my eyes and it'll take me a moment or 2 to get it together. And then when I open my eyes, you know what to do.
Shanti.
Now close your eyes, sit back and relax, lie down, whatever, and the transmission will continue. Let Source keep the connection open and just let it go into you.
जीवस्य विमुक्तिः एतस्मात् इन्द्रियाणां विमुक्तिः एतस्मात्
Now, complete the experience with gratitude. Thank your divine for everything that took place. And rather than bring your consciousness back to the room, bring your awareness of the room up to this higher state of consciousness. I know that was big. I couldn't believe what was coming through me. I mean, what was all that grief and sadness to start with? And then the laughter. I was like, wow, what is going on here? But yeah, that's kind of how it is. Anyway, we'll be doing this at the retreat. Both Tracy and I will be doing it together, which will multiply the magnitude of the transmission. Plus, we'll be in a oneness field, which means it'll be amplified by everybody there and their levels of receiving. So, something you may want to experience in person.
Thank you, Peter. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Does anybody have any last words that you'd like to share or questions? I have something came through me when I was doing that. For everyone that's on here, I have 2 beds in my house, a guest room. They both have their own bathrooms. If anyone wants to come to the retreat and I save a spot this week before it gets to the 555 number. You are welcome to my house. I will feed you breakfast and take you to the retreat. So all you have to do is get an airplane ticket and pay the 444 for Peter and Tracy. So that's what came to mind. I have a bed in here and I have a bed downstairs. And you're more than welcome. Whoever texts me first or emails me, that's my treat to everyone that came tonight. Whoever wants to come in January.
Wow, what a gift. Ashley, who are you?
I don't know. You tell me, Peter.
I don't know. You're too shiny. I'm like one of those things I can't look. Too shiny. No, I'm just teasing.
No, it just came to me. I was like, you know what? Let's bring it. Let's do this. Let's have a little Peter and Tracy party at my house. So if anyone's welcome, just let me know. Oh, thank you, Peter. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you for sharing your energy fields with me. This is usually not something you talk about after you're done. It takes a while to come in till you get used to swimming in these energies. So bless you all.
Thank you.
Keep swimming.
Oh, thank you. See everybody in January.
Thank you, Ashley and Peter.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you, Peter, for this beautiful experience.
Thank you. It was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both for doing your beautiful work
Mhm.
and getting us together and supporting us.
Thank you. So good to see you.
Thank
It's
you.
an honor. It really is. And I get to play with you in person, some of you. Yay. It's always wonderful to be in your field, but it's better to just grab your arms and dance around.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Go ahead and stop the recording, Ashley, and then we'll just have a little bit of